Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook for my stepchildren anymore? Original post. They are 16 female and 15 male. My husband and I have been married for 8 years. They have been living with their mom for a month because we caught the virus. Fortunately, they were with their mom and didn't catch it. Normally, we split custody. Ever since they have returned home, they have been very critical of my cooking. My husband and I usually split chores. He makes the dinner and I make breakfast and lunch. This works for us as my work starts later in the morning while his shift ends earlier in the evening. I try to make them healthy food and spend time with them, but they have been nothing but critical. They make faces, make fun of the dishes I cooked, and compare them to their mom's cooking in a manner which is really hurtful. They have been talked to, and their father has even punished them. They just don't seem to care. My husband seems to think my cooking is fine. Hell, they don't seem to mind my cooking when he heated it up last week. So I stopped cooking for them. They know how to cook. I had taught both of them how to handle themselves around the kitchen last year, and they had no problems before this. I am worried that they are lashing out over something hurtful I did. Teenagers are not known for their emotional maturity, and I fear this will further alienate them. But at the same time, my mental health has improved, and I do not dread mornings anymore. I still make them lunch, but I don't have to hear them talk smack about my cooking due to my schedule. My husband wants me to be the adult here, and I promise to deal with them. He thinks that if I start cooking again, they will calm down. My bonus children are giving me the cold shoulder, and it hurts. But I want to teach them that they have to respect the people in their lives, even if they dislike them. They talked to their mom about it, and she ranted at me and called me names. My husband is making them breakfast now, and they don't seem to mind that change. I had made my peace with them not considering me family. I don't expect them to make me a Mother's Day card or call me mom. I never expected that. That would be amazing, but I know it is not going to happen. I am okay with that. However, I just want them to treat me with respect. Understand that I am an adult in their lives who cares for them and loves them, but they treat me like a servant who also pays for stuff. Now for the top comments. They talked to their mom about it and she ranted at me and called me names. This is why they are treating you poorly. Your husband needs to have a sit down with his ex about bad-mouthing you to the kids. In my humble opinion, you're doing the correct thing. These are not young children. They are teenagers and they damn sure know what they are doing. You don't need to put up with this treatment just because they're kids. They're rude and their words and actions affect other people. This, especially suspicious since things seem to have started up after they spent some time at their mom's, makes me wonder what might have been said while they were over there, especially since if I'm reading your post correctly, everything seemed fine for 8 years. I doubt their mom was pulling out a full 4-course breakfast for them every day, and even if she was, they can't realistically expect someone else to do the same. So someone's up. Not Day-Hall. You said they know how to cook, and if all else fails, they can always go for cereal or a sandwich. They won't starve, and you shouldn't have to put up with their criticism. Oh my god. They're 15 and 16 and someone else cooks them breakfast and makes their lunches? You and your husband are teaching them to remain children instead of becoming adults. It's great that you taught them their way around a kitchen, and no one should be making them breakfast except themselves, especially with their entitled attitude. They're acting like toddlers and your husband is enabling them. You are not the a-hole for setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Yeah, I was making my own breakfast from a much younger age. I just leave out cereal, milk, and bread for them. I'm worried they are lashing out over something hurtful I did. What did you do that was hurtful? Also, what's wrong with 2 teenagers making their own toast or cereal and fruits in the morning? I was living out of home already by their ages and made my own damn food 3 times a day. But even at, say, 12 to 13, I made my own breakfast and school lunch, and the parental figures would only ever make dinner. They're not young children. They're fully capable of making their own breakfast and lunch. I'm not voting on your a-hole rating until you answer my question about what you think they may be retaliating over. I have been racking my brains thinking about something I did which would cause this reaction. I can't think of anything. That worries me even more for some reason. Am I being too oblivious to what I did? And now for the update. I made my post, I think, 2 weeks ago, and a lot has happened. I realized that I was not an a-hole for not cooking for them. I continued to not cook for them and they continued to ignore me. It was hurtful, but I was getting used to it. I talked to my husband about enforcing rules and talking to their mother to ensure that we can solve this issue, but he is reluctant to start drama because he is afraid of going back to the court and having to change the custody agreement. However, all this took a backseat. My father received a very bad diagnosis. It is pretty bad. It sent me to a very bad place, and I was just getting by on autopilot for a week. My stepdaughter walked in on me crying in my room. I think she was looking for her dad. She sat next to me and apologized. She teared up a little and told me that she's scared that I will force dad to move them permanently to their mothers. That made me cry harder. I told her that even though we may not get on all the time, I always missed them when they were at their mothers and house would feel empty without them here. After this conversation, things are better now. I won't say we are doing fine all the time, but we are doing much better than before. The people who guessed that their mother put them to it were correct. After a bit more talking to my stepchildren, I realized what that something we did that really hurt them. My stepdaughter told me that we didn't call them when we were sick with the virus. But we did. In fact, we were frustrated that they didn't pick up. But we chalked it up to their mother's very strict screen time policy, where the phones are under her care and not with them, and them being busy with classes. We just resorted to texting them. My hypothesis is that their mother knew the passcodes and she was deleting our missed calls when the phone was with her, and then using our lack of calls to drive a wedge between us. I have not told anyone about this theory, but this seems like a good theory. I have let this thing slide for now as I'm more focused on helping my father with his treatment. I really want to thank everyone who commented. I know this is not a happy update, but I want to let people know what happened. Opie, talk to your husband first. But I have an idea. Show your kids your call records and texts you sent when they were at their mom's. They're teens. They're tech savvy enough to understand timestamps and deletions. Tell them you're concerned they didn't get any calls or messages, because you want to make sure they have reliable communication with you and their dad. If your theory is true, the kids will put 2 and 2 together and understand who's really the problem. If that's the case, it may be worth talking to a lawyer and revisiting custody. Besides the whole parental alienation thing, interfering with communication with the custodial parent is dangerous and not in the best interest of the kids. I'm sorry to hear about your dad. I hope you're able to spend as much time with him and the kids as possible. This is a really good idea. Opie, I understand you don't want to add any fuel to the drama and your husband's worries, but I think the kids do need to understand what their mother is capable of. I'm sorry about your dad, Opie. I hope it gets better for you both. And it really is a safety issue with emergency communications. What if dad got into a car accident and the kids needed to come to the hospital? Would the mom just decline calls? What if one of the kids forgot medication at the house? It's not just douchey, it's dangerous. Wow, I'm so sorry for you and your dad, but happy you seem to be on track with the stepkids. Their mother seems to be playing quite a role in this. It's really screwed up. I get so depressed when I read about all the horrible parents out there who use their kids as a weapon. Show stepdaughter the missed calls and messages from your phones. That should convince her that both of you did try to contact them. And contact a lawyer and take X back to court. This is straight up parental alienation. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be part of my step-family's business? So my mom married my stepdad when I was 12. Both had kids. Mom had me, 25 female, and my siblings, 20 female, 19 male, 18 female, and my stepdad has his 3, 18 female, 16 male, 16 female. We lost our dad a year before. Stepdad lost his first wife 3 years before. As the oldest, I blended less well than the others. I'm fine with everyone. I get along with everyone, and I have no problems. But I don't love them. I don't consider my stepdad my dad or even as much as a parental figure as they would like. My step-siblings don't feel the same as my siblings. It's not really a big deal. I can treat them all the same and fake a bond and stuff that I don't feel, and I have no issues with any of them like I said. But I do have some boundaries. Like I kept my last name when my siblings changed theirs. And for Father's Day, my card was always separate from the main one because I was not okay getting him a dad/father Father's Day card. It had to be stepdad. Now, my mom and stepdad want to open up a family restaurant, and my siblings and step-siblings all want to be involved. And I don't. I expressed this to them as not my thing, but my mom knew I was saying no in part because of how I feel. And she told me it was making it very obvious because I have been involved in my paternal family business since high school, and that it looks like an out rejection. I told her the simple fact is, I'm not interested. And they have a lot of people already involved, so it's not like it's a big deal. She told me I'm making myself look like the red-haired stepchild, and I told her that I am a stepchild. I have a step-parent. That's not a bad thing, and it's not something I'm ashamed of. She told me I didn't have to be a stepchild. I could have had another dad. I told her I could have, but I didn't want that. She told me the family business wants and needs me. I asked her, since pictures of the grandparents and deceased relatives are going up on the walls in this idea, would the deceased parents be going up there too? And there was silence. My brother told me they're sad I don't want to be part of it, and it would be such a cool family thing to have. And now my mom's words are stuck in my head. Not a-hole. Now for the comments. Not a-hole. Seriously? Stay away. If you don't want to be part of it, stay away from it. The restaurant business has a level of volatility that's unlike any other industry. It tears families apart. Starting a restaurant and making a profit from it is very difficult and easily failed. Rent is expensive and overheads are high. I can write a whole essay as to why family restaurants can fail. The hours are long, the work is not fun, and everyone is exhausted at the end of the night. Most restaurants fail in the first few years because it's so difficult. Stick to your decision, Opie. Use any excuse you can, but steer clear of this mess. Not day-hole. Not day-hole. How many family businesses does she think you need to be a part of? And if you've had boundaries since you were 12 about how blended you wanted to be, why is she still harping on this 13 years after the fact? I think she thought I would feel like the odd one out, or like I was missing out on something. But I have never felt that way, and I know that bothers her because she wants me to be a part of it. Clearly not the a-hole. You feel what you feel or even not. It is your choice. If it doesn't feel right to participate, then don't participate. It is only up to you. You don't need to do things just to make others feel better. Do what is good for you. Not the a-hole. It would be counterproductive to put someone who's not passionate about the business responsible for said business anyways. You have your own goals and aspirations that you want to do and should not be chained to a career your family made. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for throwing my sister-in-law and her kids out after calling her a bad person because she called me a bad mom? My 33 female husband's 33 male oldest sister Rachel, 41 female, loves to stop by so her kids can spend time with mine. Rachel can be annoying, but she and my husband have a good relationship, and I always wanted to cultivate healthy relationships between everyone. But last weekend, I hit a breaking point and caused some added damage than was already done. Potentially. So, my youngest is 6, and he has sensory issues. He has many issues with clothes. Can't wear certain fabrics, can't stand socks, even needs special underwear and would go around naked if he could. Sister-in-law has always been into knitting sweaters and gives them as gifts. She has also gifted clothes to the kids before. We explained many times about our son, and my husband has said while we appreciate the gifts, he can't wear them without being driven crazy. So she was looking through some photos while she was here last weekend. My husband was working, and she commented that none of the holidays pictures had him in the sweater, and that he never wears the clothes she buys. I was a little frustrated by trying to explain it as easily as I could. She then told me she had something for him, pulls out a pair of space socks and says they would be perfect for him and his interest in space. I told her he couldn't wear them and they drive him crazy. She told me we cater too much to him, that he should be made wear what people buy'd make for him, and I'm not being a good parent letting him go through life rejecting clothes. I lost it. I told her that if I'm a bad mother, then she's a crappy person for judging me when all I'm doing is my best, and for pushing constantly to get her way. I told her we had explained things as clearly as we possibly could, and we have been over this for over 3 years now, and she's still not willing to open her mind to the possibility that we're all just doing our best. She told me good parents help their kids be better than rejecting stuff. And I told her to take her kids and leave because she was not welcome in my home anymore. My husband was pissed at her sister when he heard what went down. And he heard on his lunch break because she sent him 30 messages and left 3 voicemails on his phone. The rest of the family say I should have not treated her like that in front of the kids. And kicking the kids out was wrong. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Thanks for standing up for your kids' sensory issues. I didn't have that growing up and I can still feel awful tights in my legs, scratchy dresses, non-stretch pants. I'm 35 and I buy my favorite clothes in multiples because they feel good. You can tell your sister-in-law to go to hell. Enforcing people with sensory issues go wear certain clothes is a special kind of hell in itself. You would think she would take the hint after 3 years of explaining it to her in plain English that the son cannot wear her gifts. Enough is enough. She showed absolutely no consideration for the son's sensory issues. And the nerve of her of pushing her ideology of what constitutes a bad parent just because you allow him to wear what is most comfortable. She can take her snarky butt and her unwanted gifts back with her. Not the hall. Isn't it funny that the people who pester you over and over again are always the same people who are shocked to pick at your face when you hit your limit and go off? And somehow always blame you for it. I was only trying to help you. You did not have to lash out for such a small thing. You're too sensitive. How they managed to paint the picture in their mind as them being the victim of this situation appalls me. Not the a-hole. She's the a-hole. Buying gifts you don't want and wanting to force your child to wear them. If she's so positive about wanting the kid to wear it, why not ask you which fabrics she should buy? She's mad because her opinion is not winning an issue that is not about her. Good riddance, in my opinion. Not the a-hole. After being told on previous occasions of your child's sensory issues, it seems a bit disrespectful of her to ignore said issues to continue gifting clothing that your son can't wear. She especially has no right to get angry, invalidate your son's sensory issues, and call you a bad parent for being understanding and accommodating to him.
Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend I want a break after she cussed me out because I left her at my family reunion? Original post. I, 27 male, have been dating Emma, 27 female, for a year and 3 months. I can tell you I love her, but I recently told her I want a break because of how she spoke to me, yelling and cussing me out. She's saying couples fight, and that's all it was. I don't know if I really want to feel this way again. Now she's telling me I'm the a-hole for trying to walk away over a fight. I need advice because after 4 days, I'm wondering if I'm ending things too fast. A week ago today, I took my girlfriend to my family reunion, the first one since COVID, and everyone showed up. My big family was all together. My girlfriend would be meeting a lot of new people, though a few she had met already. About an hour into the reunion, my girlfriend and I were talking to my cousin, 30 female, who knew my girlfriend from working together. While those two were catching up, I saw an uncle I hadn't seen in a while, so I went over and said hello. Talking with him for about 10 minutes, I kept turning around to check if my girlfriend was still with my cousin talking. My grandmother asked me to help carry 4 tables. I let my girlfriend know I was going to carry the tables inside and asked if she wanted to come. She said no, she was fine talking to my cousin. I helped carry the 4 tables and came back over to her. I was away no more than 10 to 15 minutes. As we made eye contact, I could see that she looked annoyed. As I walked toward her, she started walking toward an open space away from anyone. As I walked up, she said, "Why the heck are you leaving me alone?" I said I told you I was carrying tables, and you were with my cousin. She's a familiar face. She said she saw other family and walked away to talk with them, so I'm standing here looking like a fool because you left me alone. I honestly never seen her so upset. She said, if I had known you'd be leaving me alone, I would have stayed home. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for you to feel that way. I helped and came right back. She said, whatever, and walked back toward everyone. You could visibly see she was upset, and I asked her, please, not here in front of my family. She said, take me home then. I said, are you serious right now? She started walking toward the car. While driving her home, I said, I was only gone 10 to 15 minutes. She said, it doesn't matter how long you were gone. You left me alone looking like a fool. I felt so blindsided and in shock that things escalated this quickly. 30 minutes earlier, I was just carrying the tables in. At one point, she was just yelling and going off. Then she said, you're acting like a dumbass. It's ridiculous. As she got out of the car, she said, I'll call you when I'm ready to talk. I drove home in silence, confused about how we got here, and if I was wrong for leaving her and not thinking about how she'd feel. I do understand that, and I apologize. I thought she would be comfortable with my cousin. I didn't know the cousin had walked away, but my girlfriend spoke to me like I was trash, and I'm not okay with it. Later that night, I got a text from her best friend saying how I'm an a-hole for leaving her and asking what was the point of bringing her. She told me my girlfriend was upset and couldn't believe what I did. After 3 days of not hearing from her, I texted her a long message letting her know I love her, but I don't ever want to be spoken to like that by my partner. I said it's been 3 days, and I haven't heard from you. I understand being wrong, but not hearing from you for 3 days is crazy. She called me, and when I answered, she told me I'm wrong for wanting to take a break because she's upset. She said, you left me, and you don't see the problem with that. I told her, it's how you spoke to me that's the issue. I didn't mean to make you feel alone, but even after apologizing, you kept going. She said couples fight, and she can't believe I want to end things. I do care about her and love her, but for the past 3 days, I've been thinking about how she spoke to me. Sitting in that feeling, and not hearing from her didn't help. I sent texts and called her, but she didn't answer. I keep thinking about how she was just yelling and cussing me out. Am I the a-hole for wanting to break up? Please, whatever advice is needed. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Not the a-hole. You didn't leave her alone more than a few minutes. And as far as you know, she was with someone she knew. What you did was completely unintentional, yet she focused on her immature feelings. You apologized for something I don't think you should even have apologized for, but that still wasn't good enough for her. She proceeded to cuss you out and make you take her home like a baby. Then ghosted you for 3 days and had her flying monkeys call and berate you, and they don't even know the whole story. I wouldn't have asked for a break. I would have ended it right then, and I would tell her friends to shut the heck up. Love the flying monkey comment. I totally agree with telling the friend to STFU. It's none of her business. Time to bail on this relationship. No, how you fight matters. People who think you can say terrible things when you're angry and somehow they don't count are wrong. She said things she meant to be hurtful and doesn't get to be confused that it hurt. 100%. I've been married 25 years. My husband and I have rarely raised our voices and never swear or call each other names during a disagreement. We say what we need to say, cool off, think about what the other person said, and then talk calmly. It's way more productive and definitely more respectful to fight with some ground rules. Now for the update. Hello everyone. I was not expecting so many people to comment and give advice. Thank you everyone. Honestly, I needed to hear some of these comments. A few of you said she's done this before in some way. I've never seen her that upset. It really threw me off. And for it to be the first time at my family reunion, again, it threw me off. When she asked to leave immediately, instead of us figuring out what was going on, I didn't think my family reunion was the place for us to have any type of back and forth, so of course I took her home. I'm not someone who yells at my partner. My parents only communicated through yelling and random outbursts. I don't communicate that way and don't want a relationship like my parents. I'm 6'2", 210 pounds. It doesn't look good for someone my size to be yelling at my partner. I don't ever want my partner to feel intimidated or unsafe from me yelling at her. A day after I posted, I texted Emma asking if we could talk. A few of you said she could have social anxiety that I didn't know about. I have a really big family, so I wanted to see if maybe that was it. I asked her if she had social anxiety, and she said no. I said, help me understand. Why were you so upset? She said, "You don't understand how uncomfortable it is to just stand around not knowing anyone, and you should have stayed around longer before leaving me. You should have said, 'Come with me while I move the tables.'" After she got done talking for about 5 minutes, I told her, "I'm done with this relationship. You came up with all these different scenarios of what I should have done, but here's one you didn't think about. Tell me that it made you uncomfortable being left alone so I could be with you. I would have understood. You only know 10 people out of 70 or 80. I would have just walked you around, introducing you to everyone. This was a moment I could have shown you that I care about your feelings and that you could be trusted. My family is super inviting, and all she had to do was give it a chance. This has shown me that this isn't a relationship I want to be part of, and I don't want to be in a relationship where my partner is justifying cussing me out." She started backpedaling and saying a lot of other stuff, but I told her I had to go, and good luck in life. I haven't spoken to her at all. I blocked her number and I blocked her friend's number. I want to find my partner. I want to be with someone who can talk to me and figure things out. I feel like that was an easy win for our relationship, but it went the way it did for some reason. I didn't miss out on the reunion. Since it's been a while, our reunion was the entire weekend. My grandparents have a farmhouse that sits on a lot of acres, so a lot of us camped out the entire weekend. The first day was us setting up our tents. The second day, all the cousins, 20 to 40 years old, had a kickball tournament. And the third day, we had a big fish fry. My family kept my mind busy those days. She wasn't speaking to me, and it helped me so much. I can't wait to have a partner I can share memories like this weekend with. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice. You should have said, "Come with me while I move the tables." She could have just gone with you and helped you move the tables. You know, like a helpful person would. She didn't need a special table-moving invitation. I let my girlfriend know I was going to carry 4 tables inside and asked did she wanted to come. She said no. Sounds like it was even offered and she was just being a petulant brat. For the life of me, I can't see what her endgame was. It almost seemed like she was trying to find a reason to break up with him, and she found the perfect opportunity to just lose her mind and let loose. She even set her friend on him after giving who knows what story. But for a 27-year-old who has been dating someone for just a bit over a year, to act that entitled and immature and at such a big family event? I'm surprised that the OP never had red flags just slapping him across the face everywhere. It's a power play to break a person down to where they are basically obedient to you and won't challenge you on even the slightest thing. I had an ex-girlfriend do it to me. After 3 years, I finally broke up with her. A month later, she was crying, like full-on ugly cry trying to get back together. It's called manipulation and gaslighting. He did nothing wrong. She was upset. He apologized, but she kept on. I'm glad he dumped her, even though that wasn't her endgame. She knew 10 people there. She could have gone up to chat with one of them, introduce herself to others that were there talking also. She could have gone looking for him, but she chose to just stand there. Awkward, yes, but not deserving of an ass chewing. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for divorcing my husband for being infertile? Original post. I, 29 female, have been with my husband, 29 male, for 6 years, married for 3. We both come from family-oriented backgrounds and have always wanted kids. We're financially stable and can provide a child an amazing life. We officially started trying for a baby in early 2023. After months of nothing, I started to get worried. I wanted to get our fertility checked then, but he said I was being a worry rat and suggested we wait a year of trying before getting any testing. A year was in February, and I scheduled our testing then. The results shocked us. We were both ignorant and assumed I was the one with the issue, if there was one. I mainly see women talking about being infertile, so it didn't cross our minds it could be something else. The doctor called us, and on one of the worst days of our lives, told us that my husband has a condition called azoospermia, meaning he has no sperm. In his case, they say that the surgery to extract directly from his testicle doesn't seem likely to yield good results, but it wouldn't hurt to try. My husband and I were devastated. I wanted us to explore all routes, him taking the medication and getting the surgery, and if that failed, either a sperm donor or adoption. I understand this is life-changing news, especially for my husband, but since February he's refused to do anything about it. He said he doesn't want to take meds and get the surgery if it will be a waste like the doctor thinks. He says using a sperm donor makes him feel emasculated, and that he doesn't want to raise my child with another man's DNA, even if it's from a relative of his, and that adoption isn't something he's ever wanted. I have no one to talk to about this in real life since he doesn't want his diagnosis out there. It's been affecting me really badly mentally. There's nothing I want more than to be a mom. I've begged him to go to therapy and he refuses, saying he accepts it. I'm the one that doesn't. Every time I try to start a conversation, he shuts it down by saying we will never have a child together, that he will never be able to be a real dad, so I need to move on. I know what I want for myself, and that's motherhood. I am willing to go down any avenue to become a mother, but he doesn't want to. I realized this past summer that he's right. We will never have a child together. I had one final conversation with him since he avoids the topic like the plague. Last night, I sat him down and said I empathize with him about this life-changing diagnosis and that I respect his decision not to get the surgery. But he also refuses to use a donor or adopt. I told him I want to be a mom and I'm not getting any younger. And if he isn't willing to explore any avenue or go to fertility therapy, then I want a divorce. He broke down, saying he can't believe I would be willing to walk away from our marriage over this. That if the shoe were on the other foot, he would never leave me for being infertile. He says I'm a horrible person and that I'm punishing him for something he can't control. I told him it's not because he's infertile, I can work with that, but because he's refusing to go down any route to become a parent, knowing that's something we've both always wanted. He said that I never loved him. Otherwise, I would never contemplate divorce over kids that don't exist yet. He cried afterwards and refused to let me console him. I feel so horrible, but what else can I do? Continue begging him to change his mind or speak to a professional. He only wants biological kids and refuses to do the surgery because it's too much prep. Daily vitamins and meds, no hot showers, etc. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It isn't about him being infertile. It's about him effectively changing his mind, about having children. I feel like he had a vasectomy and didn't tell OP. Kids are sadly a deal breaker for most. I've walked away from many relationships because I don't want them and the other person does. In a way, this situation is the same. He's not open to children another way. So sadly, your life goals no longer align. It's obviously devastating for you both, but if you stay, you will resent him and probably leave later in life, without an easy path to children then. Not the a-hole, and I'm so sorry for you. You're right on the money. This isn't about his infertility alone. It's his unwillingness to compromise or even consider alternatives. It's tough, but if you've made it clear what you want for your future and he's choosing to shut down all options, then it's totally fair to think about what's best for you. Staying in a situation where your dreams aren't aligned can just lead to resentment later on. There's plenty of options out there, and husband won't budge. This isn't his fault due to his infertility. This is his fault for being stubborn. Now for the update 8 months later. Hello everyone. I posted last year and received so much amazing feedback that genuinely changed my life. Since no one in my personal life knew what was going on, being able to talk about it and get so much incredible advice was great. A lot of the people in the comments opened my eyes to the possibility that he was refusing the surgery because it would be the final nail in the coffin, that if it failed, that would be the end. And that could be the reason he was refusing to do anything. I took some time after posting to do some self-reflection on the whole scenario and to approach the situation differently. We spoke about it extensively, and I told him how I completely understand his fears about not wanting to do the surgery, but I really wanted us to try a fertility therapist. I said we could just do one session. It didn't have to be a deep commitment. He agreed, and that therapy session went amazingly well. We both spoke separately and then together, and we ended up doing 5 sessions overall. You guys were right. My husband was scared to try anything because he didn't want it to fail. He was pre-rejecting the rejection. He opened up to me about a lot of fears and anxiety about his diagnosis. We deeply connected afterward and became even closer as a couple. One day I saw vitamins on his dresser and realized he had been taking them without even telling me. I was so happy. We did another sperm analysis and they saw 2 sperm. We were so happy. Then, to my complete and utter surprise, my husband forwarded me an email. He had scheduled a consultation for the micro-tessie surgery in December. It went well, and he was approved for surgery in February. We went in with low expectations, just happy with the progress he'd made, but they were able to retrieve 3 sperm. My husband and I were ecstatic and couldn't stop crying. Everything went well at his 2-week checkup. Now we're in the process of IVF. I started taking medication for my egg retrieval right after his surgery, and so far I have 12 eggs. Last month we found out we have 2 embryos. Both are healthy, 1 boy and 1 girl. Our implantation date for our daughter was May 1st, and I tested positive a few days ago. We are so happy. I am so grateful that we were able to get through this bump in the road. This has been amazing. I'm so happy that my husband's fear and my sadness in response to his fear were things we were able to overcome. We have both extensively apologized to each other, him for shutting down and wanting to give up, and me for not being more understanding of that life-changing news. Thank you again to everyone who gave me advice.